the trombones in the front. Yeah, that's great. You know, I'm a saxophone player. I've spent all my life with the trombones right behind me. So that's great. You guys sound good. That's wonderful. The section without the drums in the first piece, that was really, really well done. You really held that together very well, because that's a lot of notes. So the only thing I would say that is about sound is you need to fill up your instruments more. Saxophones, you need to put more air in your instruments, you know, so that the instruments are singing. Trumpets are great. I couldn't see you, but I could certainly hear you. How many trumpets are back there? Two. Okay. Wow, you guys are doing great work. You know, you guys are two guys sounding like four. That was good. So on the Latin tune, I love the vocal, very strong. You know, it's always hard to hear all the notes, you know, all the words. Yeah. But the melody you're singing and the pitch is good, and your voice is nice and strong. That's great. So also the feel in the Latin piece was very, very good. It's authentic. You guys were playing well. You guys sounded like you were having some fun. I love the violin sound in there too. That's beautiful. You should have played a solo. Yeah, that would have been nice. That would have been nice. So no, everything sounds beautiful. Music is always progressing. You know, you're always going on. So it's a journey that never ends. It's a destination that you never get to. You know, it's like different every day. We're different every day. Our instruments are the same, but we're different every day. So every day it feels like our instruments are different. You know, because it's the way we're feeling when we play. It's the way that we're feeling when we approach our instrument, how it's going to sound. You know, sometimes you warm up and you start playing and your instrument just sounds good immediately. Sometimes it takes 20 minutes to get a sound. You know, so there's no way to figure that stuff out. And that's the way it is with music. It's every day, you know, we say every day is a new beginning. So it's good, it's good in a way, and it's not good in a way. It's good in a way because you never get there, so you're always focusing on things, you're always working on things, you're always trying to make it better, and that's really good for your mind, and it's really good for your body, you know. And then sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes it's just hard work. So you have to get through the hard work part. You know, and usually when it starts to get to be hard work, usually when you come to some sort of plateau and you wonder if it's going to get any better, if you keep going, it will get better. You know, I tell people, yeah, you just practice every day, you practice and practice and practice, you practice till you think you're going to go nuts, right? And then you go nuts and you keep practicing. And then you get through these plateaus and you go on. But you really sound good. You really have a good start. How often do you play?
Once a week.
Once a week? So that's very good. So thank you.
Hi. How's it going? Did you have fun? I could see, like I'm watching you and I could see almost everyone looking out there at the door or out here. And I loved the presence and the energy, and I just want you to know that you're, right here is what matters. It's the master of now, what you just did, because it may never go like that again, right? Just one moment. I loved what Mr. Watts just said about practice. Practice makes permanent. Permanent. Practice makes permanent. Anyone here practice something with a mistake in it by accident? And then they were like, oh, crud. I got to go back and redo that. So I can tell you guys have been putting so much time and energy in. And is this person here your director?
Yep.
Nice job, buddy.
Good job, Daniel.
Nice job, sir. I loved it. I was so impressed by the solos on the first tune. The time, like you guys all had a pretty consistent, unified pulse in the band. I was like, wow, how are they going to stay together? And then you guys all did. Mm-hmm. The time, and then the rhythm section came back in, and it was like we never dropped a beat, and it was really, really good. So give yourself one of those. Mm-hmm. I personally, since there isn't a piano player in the band, nice job back there, bassist. You're rocking it. But since we're not getting a ton of harmony as a reference point for our intonation and blend and what part of the chord we're on and blah, 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 I think you could have turned up on guitar. And I know you were just doing quarter notes and that was rocking, that was probably stylistically appropriate on the first tune, but get in there more because you're the only guy that we have to lean against for harmony, right? That's it. That's the only place the chords are coming from. Gosh. Yeah, nice. Altos, nice training. So do you know what key you guys are in? And do you know what the form of the tune is?
I've only had this tune like 3-4 days.
I loved it. I felt like you guys could have borrowed what the melody provided, like that first riff-like melody. We heard it from you guys, we heard it from you guys. You guys could let that inform your blowing. It's very riff-like, there's repeated material, repeated ideas, and you were doing that. But maybe just dive a little deeper into what key am I in? What's one time through the form of this? Are there blues elements? Do I want to work on motivic development? Yeah, right? That's what the tune does. And then with that in mind, you guys all were kind of articulating that first opening phrase a little differently. Each section was a little bit different. So if that's purposeful, make it purposeful. If you want it to be more consistent and the same, then work that out. Saxes played it pretty different than the bones. Do you guys know what I mean about articulation? Yeah. That's like the punctuation in the music, right? How short are the 8 notes? Where are we cutting off? Are we playing the space? How long is the phrase? What's the biggest moment? What's the softest moment? In general, dynamics were really good. This is a room you've never played, so one thing as musicians is we never can really count on getting our sound right, because every room is different. I play the piano, so I sound like myself, but every instrument's different. You guys did a really nice job with dynamics. I'd love you to think about your dynamics, like if you're playing forte, I'd love you to think about forte as this deep. There are different levels of forte. So how big is your forte, right? How far are you leaning in on that? On the second tune, what's the biggest moment of that tune? After the cowbell, shout chorus out. Is that the biggest moment? I'm asking.
I think so.
So decide, make a decision. What's your biggest moment? Work to that peak in the music. Same thing. Where's the softest moment? Where's the most delicate moment of the first tune, right? And then savor those, because those extremes are what really offset the energy and excitement of it. I loved your singing. It's real hard to sing over a band like this. You did a phenomenal job. You brought a lot of presence and joy to it. I loved watching you. Band, if you can't hear her in your peripheral, you're too loud or your focus is in the wrong place. So just make sure, I'm not saying play softer, your director's working with you on all of that, but make sure that this is priority when she's got the melody, right? And then you could play with some different extremes with your voice, right? Because you end up having to yell a lot to get heard over that. So you could pretend to sing opera. Oh, you could just go for it, You could do a real soft, airy thing up high, so it doesn't always have to be chest, voice, and it doesn't always have to be yelling, right? You can play with that. You guys could play with your dynamics. and the subtlety in one dynamic so that that balance is a little bit more evenly spread. Dug it, agree with Mr. Watts, violin solo all the way. If we're gonna have violin and jazz, we better hear you play.
Especially jazz Latin.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all it's
Wow, well, you guys just said it all. But I'm really interested in, so this is all original music?
No, these are other charts.
So who wrote the music?
The first one is a Gordon Goodwin piece.
Okay.
The second one is Linda Adder.
Oh, okay, Linda Adder. Wow, I saw her in Broadway one time. Well, you've certainly made this music your own, and I think that it's very interesting how I hear original sound from what you have here, and I was almost thinking, well, this is original music. Maybe you had written it, or
I arranged this piece.
so you kind of reorchestrated it. You arranged the second piece.
I arranged it.
Okay, really cool. And I think I could definitely concur with my colleagues here about different aspects. Definitely, like sound can be a little bit more stable across the board, and putting a little bit more, having more air support and a more steady insistence of air in terms of keeping the sound going, would definitely help. And I would agree with Dawn about that. You can kind of get your phrasing together between sections. These are the kind of things that you can have a discussion about, or you can do some listening together, or as part of your rehearsals, and or to give yourself little thought experiments or homework to take home in between rehearsals, where you're thinking about exactly what kind of phrasing, how much, how the eighth notes want to feel, and so on, on how they might be different on a swing tune and on a Latin tune, and so on, I think when I have a feeling you're playing, some of the parts are all the parts represented. I know they're not in the trumpet section, but I agree with Ernie. You guys sound like 4 trumpets up there. Great job. Strong. Who's playing lead? Are you guys still switching around? Strong, man. It's like killing it. Excellent. But I mean, I think it's just a matter of always, I'd be recording rehearsals and performances and engaging in a process of constant, the hardest thing to do sometimes is actually listen to those recordings, right? But because we're never satisfied. But if you could do it objectively and with objectivity and kindness at the same time, then you can really start making decisions about what are the little things, and that will turn into big things in terms of getting the sound that you're really looking for in your head about the music to really become a reality. And I think that's the important thing is make your own interpretation, but maybe try to see if you can keep on going towards what's out there in terms of what the interpretation is, what's out there in terms of how I can play on it, how I can solo on it, how I can execute a lead line or an inner part, or how the blend's supposed to be, or could be, So there's no supposed to. I think it's kind of more like could, So all those things, and get together. If you have a chance to rehearse the parts on your own, or maybe get together and shed them a little bit, the section peoples and stuff, all that stuff. There's something like playing together with the musicians that you know, in a practice situation for getting your sound and your blend and your phrasing together. I've learned, I think, the most that I think in almost any musical experience from just getting together with my peers and seeing how we do it and trying to make some music sound good together. You know, that can start with long tones, you know, long tones and intervals and scales and playing just, you know, seeing how if we can tune up intervals and things like that. All those things can be really fun. What's really fun is when you do that, then it comes back and reflects on your performance. You know, but really dug it. I love the feel you put into the singing of the Linda Eder piece. That I get it a little bit more now. It sounded so individualized. I just kind of almost, you know, automatically assume you were playing all the original music. So you're putting your stamp on this. Keep doing this, and just you know your orchestra and you know you could really just take it from here and do some fantastic things. Well done.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Froot.